So we got all of our seats stripped down. We got the two stern seats, you could call them, or rear. Pieces of foam. The one piece of wood was trash, so we'll use this one as a template. Cut two of these. And move this foam aside. So these two are pretty much identical. And we'll lay all this out. That piece of plywood we got there, we'll cut them out. So we got our pieces laid out here on our plywood. We'll simply trace them and then likely cut them with the jigsaw because we got a couple too many curves to use a skill saw or a table saw. Grab the jigsaw and we'll start cutting. So we'll go ahead and cut this first one out using the old jigsaw from the 90s. It's about time it gets replaced, but it works and it lives in the garage, so it doesn't need to be cordless just yet. We'll see if we have others. We've got a different blade on here now. We'll see if it cuts any better. Final seat cut out there. We'll do a little bit of sanding around the edges so they're not so sharp. Next time we'll definitely wear a mask because there was a lot of sawdust. So next we're gonna sand all these edges on all the seats here to make sure that they're not gonna be sharp, they're not gonna rip through the material that we're gonna sew on there. We're using a 80 grit orbital sander here. Really any sander would do. You can use sandpaper in your hand, but this will do it a lot quicker. So now that we've got all these edges sanded down, everything's smooth. There's no splinters that are gonna stick out and stab into people, stab through the material. We're gonna drill a couple holes, 1, 2, 3 on each of the big ones, probably 2 on each of the small ones. That'll help any moisture that gets into the foam to drain out through the bottom. For this, we're using a 1-inch keyhole saw, spade bit. About here. Put one about here in the middle. One up near the front, somewhat in the middle. And we'll be coming back through here with the sander just to clean up these holes a little. Splintered a little more than I thought they would. Wasn't a huge fan how that keyhole saw works, so this time we're going to be using just a regular hole saw. See if those make them a little bit nicer. I'm going to use a little bit smaller of a bit on these ones. So next up, we're going to be applying this water guard. It's a waterproofer. Biggest item that we're looking for is provides mildew resistant coating. The wood's going to get wet. We're just trying to prolong it so that it doesn't turn into this rotten out crap. I'm assuming this was probably pressure treated wood to start with, so it clearly didn't last. Let's see how some regular plywood and some waterproofer works. We're going to apply it on all the cut edges inside these holes, all surfaces, front and back. Right on here. Coverage on highly porous surfaces. 1 coat application, surface prep. Clean, dry, free of dust, dirt, debris. Boom, we're good to go. enough to me. I've never used this stuff before. Probably enough to do a deck here, but put the lid back on because we might have to shake it. Do not thin or mix. Shake well before using. Brush. Maybe use a roller. You could spray it. 24-hour cure. Stuff's pretty liquidy, so I think that's a good enough pre-shake. Pour it in our red Solo cup so we can dip our brush in it. Not the color as I was expecting it to be. It's like a murky watercolor. We're just going to use a regular paintbrush to apply this. Seems pretty thin. Not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Getting the whole. Get it on all these edges here. We'll probably do one side, wait for it to dry, and then do the other side at a later date. Just making sure we get every little bit of it. Doesn't really have that much of a smell. It's a little like paint. Very runny though. Make sure you get the edges good. So that's where you cut it. That's where the water will get in, and this stuff should hopefully soak in there good to prevent the water. So this went on a little different than I thought it would. I thought it would be a little bit thicker, more of a varnish. This looks like it's more of a treatment that'll set into the wood, kind of like a pressure treating, and just prevent it from rotting. So we'll see how it goes. We'll continue on coating the rest of these, and we'll let it dry for a day. And we'll probably end up hitting these edges twice, as when we flip it to do the other side, we'll just redo the edges again, because that's where all the layers are of the plywood. You want to make sure that's sealed the best or waterproof the best. Yeah, I guess it doesn't say it's a sealer, it's a waterproofer, so we'll see. So we'll continue, finish up those last two. We're done applying the waterproofer. Can't really tell that we put it on there. It just looks a little wet. Got all the sides. Barely used any at all. Half a red Solo cup full. So we could probably do a deck if we wanted. Let these dry, cure, absorb for 24 hours. Flip them over. Do the other side.